Welcome to another XL Gaming cast. I'm Son of Eevil, and tonight I'm joined by Mikasa and TX3. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for that introduction. Today we will see the first scrim between XL and Yellow Solo mid Reborn.
10 seconds remaining.
And with the last scrim that we saw Yellow Solo do,
5
they opened up
seconds remaining.
with the Batrider picks and the CMs, if you can remember.
Yes, I do remember. CM's been fairly hotly contested in meta of late, so I would expect to see her either first phase banned or first phase picked.
We do see XL with the first pick, so they could be opting to go for that Magnus, as most first picks do tend to try and go for that Magnus, considering how strong of a team fight hero he is, and can hold himself well in the lane. So maybe with this next ban we might see an Abaddon, or even a Warlock, which can zone that Magnus very well. So what do you guys...
Gaming. Sorry, yep, go on.
What do you guys think that Dire should be looking... Radiant should be looking forward to drafting if they do pop that Magnus up on the Dire side?
What do you want to play into a Magnus? They've already banned out the Warlock, and that's one of the best counter initiators available. They could look for something like a Tidehunter and go for an early blink. That way you can sort of blink in and Ravage to break up the team fight, sort of like a counter initiation.
That's not bad.
Tidehunter.
They do opt for the Dazzle first picks, considering they did ban the Axe in the first ban, and the Yellow Solo known exactly what they want to draft.
Yeah, Crystal Maiden, Ember Spirit, Snappy 1-2.
They're looking for that early game rotations, perhaps, or maybe just a nice hero to get that mana regen on, or even win the safe lane.
Do you think Yellow Solo mid are going to look for another roamer and have like a roaming duo? Maybe they pick up like a Rubik, or
they might even pick up a Jakiro.
Tusk. Yeah, Jakiro, he's been quite popular as well.
We did see them favour that Jakiro in the first phase in the last game, and they might just feel comfortable on those heroes. How do you feel Jakiro would fit into the lineup of Yellow Solo mid Reborn TX3? Oh?
Jakiro?
How do you feel it would fit into their lineup?
I think you just have to weigh out bans and see how they want to play the lanes. Like, you can have to see him in the jungle, like obviously rotating out, but with Jakiro, you want him to, get his level 7 and start pushing lanes when your cores get like 1.5 items. So we'll just see what Yellow Solo mid Reborn does with drafts, as we see a Sunset ban from them.
Interesting. XL Gaming have opted to ban out the Magnus themselves.
I think perhaps they're scared of getting that Magnus Ember Spirit combo together. As we all know, I'm sure we've been on the receiving end of a Magnus Ember. It can be very lethal going into the late game.
Certainly,
they pick up the Faceless Void.
Yeah, Faceless Void, excellent lockdown against the Ember Spirit.
Exactly. And
in fact, I don't know that there's any better hero in the game for locking him in place, except for maybe Legion Commander pre-Lincolns.
I do look forward to wondering if this is going to be a safe lane void or an off lane void. Both lanes, I feel like he could do really well. Faceless Void does have that time walk and the time dilation.
Certainly, a Dazzle Faceless Void lane would be a very hard one to win.
There we go.
There you go, as predicted. Jakiro pick.
I feel like they're going for the Jakiro to try and go for that early lockdown. It's a very nice hero to secure the safe lane and push down towers really early, as TX3 said a few minutes ago.
They certainly do have a very strong early game draft coming out with the Crystal Maiden and the Jakiro.
Yeah.
5 seconds
and
remaining.
Jakiro, ideally you want to put him up against that Faceless Void, because there's one thing Faceless Void hates during the laning phase. It's damage over time.
What do you guys think that Dire should be looking to draft right now? What do you think XL should be looking to draft into the Jakiro, Crystal, and Ember, 2 of which have roots? There we go. Tidehunter's a very nice pick.
Radiant team pick.
What would be a safe lane void?
Yeah, definitely be a safe lane void now. Tidehunter's a great pick here. He has the Kraken Shell, which he can break out of both roots from Ember Spirit and Crystal Maiden, and he can break out of Jakiro's Ice Path as well. It's a really nice pickup from XL Gaming.
I really like the Tidehunter as a sort of like a momentum slowing hero. That he's not necessarily a tempo controller like a Templar assassin would be, but in that when you're trying to go for those early team tower pushes, you have to be scared of committing too much. And at the moment, they don't have a lot of tower siege. They have the Jakiro, but that's about it. Everyone else has to be close. Ember doesn't really hit towers. Crystal Maiden doesn't. Darkseer doesn't hit towers. And so if they want to hit these towers, they have to do it really, really slowly with the Jakiro, or they'll have to address that in their last pick. But they do have to be scared pushing these towers down about Tidehunter initiation. As I said, they're all not great tower pushers, so I think Tidehunter could be really good at slowing that tower pushing momentum and just make Team Yellow solo mid be a little bit concerned to really commit heavily.
Yeah, it was a nice pickup for Shaman there, because what XL were lacking was a bit of push on their team. They didn't really have a tower hitter. Now that they have Serpent Wards, they can look towards a mid lane that could possibly take down towers fast.
And some excellent lockdown on this very elusive Ember Spirit as well.
Yeah, exactly. Even just lockdown to take down its Ember Spirit.
Between the Faceless Void, the Tidehunter, and the Shadow Shaman, they're not going to want for Disable this game. It really frees them up in this last pick, I think, to get a really good tower hitter. Do you think they maybe look for like a Shadow Fiend?
XL? Perhaps. What type of mid laners could they go for at the moment? There are a few choices left. They could opt to maybe go for the TA. Very deadly against the Jakiro though. Lena's still in the pool. Nice burst damage. A lot of magic damage to win a lane against Ember.
10 seconds remaining.
What would you like to see coming out from XL at the moment, Alan?
5 seconds remaining.
For the mid lane
pick. There's the TA that we discussed.
Yeah, there's the TA pick, and there's that. It is risky going into the Jakiro, but obviously they're feeling a bit confident in their player. And there's the tower pusher that I was talking about that they needed.
And you see, this isn't too bad with the TA into the Jakiro, because Jakiro, he's going to decide he's only going to be able to harass out the Faceless Void or the Templar Assassin. So which one is it going to be? Both these heroes suffer heavily to damage over time.
Exactly.
Reserve time.
He should be trying to focus down on that Templar to get refraction off of TA, but it will be hard if he's got a Faceless Void and the Tidehunter in his face.
And I don't think Faceless Void is going to struggle too hard against this Darkseer either.
We still see Sven still in the pool at the moment, and Sven is nice carry to hold Iron Shell. That's a lot
Would you really want to pick be picking a Sven into a Faceless Void and a Tidehunter? They've got a lot of lockdown and kiting here. Like they've got slows out the wazoo.
It is a high armored hero though, and I feel like they would have a lot of difficulty killing that hero.
I think the Dazzle Weave might counter the Sven armor quite well, especially if Faceless Void gets a Chrono on top of it. It's just an easy weave for the Dazzle, the plus armor and then the negative armor on top.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just not sure that the Sven is the pick here. They need a tower hitter. There is a Juggernaut in the pool. I think Juggernaut's a sensible pick.
Juggernaut can go both ways, but I'm not too sure if he can fight.
Could they go in for the Troll Warlord, or do they have too much disable for him? He's a natural BKB builder. And they do have the Luna as well, actually. Luna's still in the pool. I think Luna would be a fantastic pickup.
I'm not sure if you want a team fight like into XL.
Yeah, exactly. They've got the Weave, they've got the Ravage, they've got the threat of a Cronus here as well.
Like, I think the Ember should be like split pushing a lane, and then maybe a call, but I'm just not exactly sure what. There's a Bristleburn. I was like, maybe a Razor or something. It's a little unconventional, but it's like another anti-carry for Faceless Void.
I do like the
10 seconds remaining.
I do like the bands coming out. Morphling. There we go. There's another hero that can split push efficiently with his ultimate. And it will be difficult for XL to try and stop this split push from the Ember and the Morphling.
We haven't seen much Morphling in the current meta. He's been somewhat absent of late.
I'm not sure how he scares well against Faceless Void, who does pick up that Diffusal Blade, so it could be a bit risky of a pick, but let's see how it pans out.
Certainly, he does have that high base armor as well, so that's going to naturally help him against the TA and the Dazzle.
Yeah, exactly. There isn't a lot of armor coming out from Yellow solo mid Reborn, and if Dazzle gets a wave off of them, TA can deal a lot of damage. It's a very risky draft.
At the same time, they do have a lot of answers to the TA refraction.
They do. But then there's also Dazzle who can save them.
It's very true, very true.
Now we'll see who has the bigger tower. Clearly, Yellow Reborn has all the money.
Points for his team.
I guess now we know who wins, boys.
I guess we'll just stop the cast here then, and congratulate Team Yellow Solo Mid on their victory.
Prepare for battle.
All right, let's introduce the players. We've got Nevdi on the Jakiro, DC 28 on the Storm Spirit, over on the Morphling.
Amber Spirit.
Yes, thank you. Grimace on the Morphling, on the Darkseer, Captain Kirk, and on the Crystal Maiden, Careless Whisperer. Moving across to Team XL, on the Faces Void, we have Vitalize. T8, we have Unknown. Donor, thank you for your upside down name on the Dazzle. Young Scrim on Tidehunter. And then lastly, Big Red on our position for Shadow Shaman.
We're used to seeing Big Red playing on those high
30
intensive
seconds to battle.
heroes that can be quite a menace in the early game.
Yeah, last time we saw him play a very, very aggressive position for Slider.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see how he can play this Shaman. As you can see, they're looking to walk towards.
Yeah, they're just fearlessly walking up on the high ground. They don't have any smoke. Oh, they do have a smoke on the Shadow Shaman, but they're not gonna pop it. They're just happy to push them back off this. Looks like Shadow Shaman's gone in for the early point in Shackles. They're gonna do an awful lot of damage here. They let them take it.
A lot of misplay coming out from their team right now. I don't know.
Yeah, they could potentially lose their Dazzle here.
Yeah,
I think Dazzle's just gonna get walked down, and that's a very, very easy first blood for Team Yellow Solo Mid. And Shadow Shaman is gonna walk away with some tears in his eyes. And Dazzle's gonna have to budge himself out of TP and port back in.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was gonna be a really big problem because the Darkseer picks up his soaring right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be incredibly hard to kill now. He's almost halfway to that level 2 as well. I'm not sure if
and he's got that. He's got that Soul Ring too.
Like I was
he's going to find himself the Darkseer. He's going to get a couple of auto attacks. He does have the Iron Shell, but it looks like without the boots, he's just going to be happy to settle for a couple of last hits and already work on pulling that creep wave back. Oh, unfortunately, he's pinging it out. He's been caught out by a pesky range creep.
What do you guys think of Vitalize not getting maybe those extra 4 tangos against the Darkseer lane? Do you think he's opting for the Dazzle to keep him alive in the lane and keep him sustained?
So the extra tangos on who?
On Faceless Void, how he didn't pick up those extra 4 tangos, knowing that he might need that extra region? Or do you think maybe he is correct in getting that salve and just maybe taking off that damage with Time Walk instead?
I think it's fine if he maxes Time Walk first.
I think the more important question is why he's opted to go with the Poor Man Shield when he's facing a Darkseer. He's not going to find himself getting right-clicked very often by that hero.
I just think it's just a really cost-efficient item. You could always there's nothing wrong with going Poor Man Shield, especially if you get the AG from the starting gold you have and just buy the South Shield when you put the banner in.
Yeah, it's not too bad to pick up as well, especially if Seer ends up getting those extra levels on him. He might be able to just move into the jungle, and we can see him here getting the Iron Talon, so he can get that any of the Iron Shelled creeps down and bash the living daylights out of it.
Now, we did observe last night a Faceless Void that opted to go for the early Midas in order to keep up with his farm. Is that something that perhaps Vitalize should be looking to do instead of going with the Iron Talon?
I feel like this is an option they could look into because they do have the TA who does naturally take a lot of camps quite early into the game to get that nice early deso. So it's not a bad pickup for him, but we do see him getting that Iron Talon nice and early. So
and just quickly, we do have a smoke wrap around coming up with the Dazzle and Shadow Shaman. They're going to catch out with the Hex. They've got him. Shackles to follow up. Right clicks coming out. Gets the root out, but the right click from the Templar Assassin is going to be enough to take him down.
Nice rotation. So we can see Jakiro and Crystal Maiden were going to do the same thing, but they're just a little bit too late.
And Shadow Shaman picked himself up a double damage there. I don't know that he necessarily got the opportunity to get off any right clicks, but
Maybe
certainly a double damage Shadow Shaman with the 77 base damage is terrifying.
Darkseer look.
So Darkseer is going to be aware that he's there. He does. He's opting to go for the Hex. I guess he doesn't want to stand there and shackle him the whole time. Probably take a little bit more damage from Ion Shell than you might from the Shackles.
Oh, look at this mid lane. We missed it. But Jakiro and Crystal Maiden staying in the mid lane, putting pressure onto the TA and getting the kill with Ember. That does finish up his bottle, and TA now has to get a TP from his buddies.
He's been in the top lane, CM.
Ah, yes, CM. She'll probably spot this out, and
Real,
it looks like the Jakiro is going to grab it for himself.
If we look top lane, Darkseer's moving in quite heavily.
Oh, they are going onto him. Another bash from Faceless Void might seal this. Is he going to be lucky? No, he's going to cancel that auto attack. If he'd gotten the bash, that might have been enough to get the kill. More action on the mid lane now. Here is the it gets rooted up. She's taking an awful lot of damage. She's going to pop the Fairy Fire, and she's got that one refraction charge. That's going to be enough to save her from getting killed here. And they do get the return kill out onto the poor Ember Spirit, but they get the Tide in retaliation as well. TA opting to hang around here, as is the Jakiro. I think she senses that there's a little bit of danger here, and she's just going to back up, and Jakiro's probably going to be happy to maybe get a couple of Liquid Fires out on that tower, and a little bit of free, easy XP in that mid lane.
This Morphling now has free farm, but I don't see him doing that well against the Tidehunter once he returns back to lane. With Tidehunter knowing that Crystal Maiden, Kira are constantly going to stay in the mid lane.
Just wondering, do you guys think this Morph is going to go minus? Since he's uncontested in the lane?
He has an awful lot of gold at the moment. He's currently sitting at the highest net worth at 2,500, with the Faceless Void 400 behind him. He very well might. If you can get it early enough. No, he's going to go in for the Aquila and the Power Treads.
I feel like Dazzle should be trying to stay in the mid lane instead of Shaman. Just because he's got that extra kill.
No way.
I feel like Shaman wouldn't be able to really execute anything in this lane.
I feel like at this point maybe Donor on the Dazzle just needs to be looking at stacking camps.
Yeah, at the
maybe rotating mid. Oh, we do have more action down here in the middle lane. Shadow Shaman's going to get burned down by the Ember Spirit. TA Assassin manning up now. Getting harassed out. She's going to retreat back.
It is interesting not to see the meld coming out on TA.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Maybe try to dodge that Liquid Fire that keeps coming out. But I do understand that that extra point in side blades gives him a little bit more range, so maybe that's why he's opting to go. Maybe looking to move into the jungle nice and early as well.
Doesn't let the hand minus before like vitalize. There's the recipe and 50 gold.
This'll come in handy.
Yeah, I think the Hand of Midas is a nice pickup for him. Because I think he realizes that TA will probably take up majority of his jungle and hinder his farm a little bit.
Certainly, he's also going to be competing against that position 1 Morphling, who, as we all know, is an absolutely top farmer. So I think in order to keep up this game, he's going to have to go for that Midas.
Exactly.
He's got that. He's just bought that recipe now too. He's having it flown out.
At the moment, I feel like the supports on XL aren't really achieving too much at the moment.
No, certainly they're not helping to win that. Oh, is this going to be a Korea snipe? No, it's very, very close. The Ember Spirit couldn't quite make the connection onto it. But yeah, I certainly agree that
has to watch out. This Dazzle.
Nice path connects. 3 remnants forward.
Yep, they're gonna take him out. Couple of right clicks. That's all it's gonna take. That poor level 3 Dazzle.
It makes me question why maybe doesn't have that point in grave. The value point in grave is always nice. I don't really see him being able to heal bomb anyone at the moment. I do have to ask the question why he doesn't have that point in grave.
Certainly the 1-1-1 build might have been a lot better here. Oh, we have just missed a kill on the top lane here with Darkseer taking out the Crystal Maiden. Sorry, not Darkseer.
Tidehunter.
Tidehunter.
I'm trying to understand.
Ravage. I don't know how that went down.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand.
Action in the top lane here. Face's Void has committed the Chrono onto the Darkseer, and Shadow Shaman with the Shackles was enough to finish him off. They're going now onto the Shadow Shaman. A lot of damage here. Ravage is committed. Tidehunter comes in. Oh, Shadow Shaman's just going to get out. Just not quite enough damage.
This Shadow Shaman looking to go back in. Very risky.
Shakiro opting to hang around and be a nuisance.
Oh,
They get the Hex. They've got the slow, but yet not enough. No lockdown to keep him there.
I feel like he's just trying to be a bit too aggressive when he doesn't need to be. He could have gone back to base then. And, yeah, definitely could have gone back for that regen a bit earlier. Bit of a greed play, but I do understand what he was trying to achieve.
If we quickly have a look at the levels here for both teams, Team XL Gaming are very, very behind at the moment. 8, 8, and 7 on the cores of Yellow Solo Mid, and 7, 7, 7 on the cores for XL Gaming. And then you've got the two supports both out-leveling the supports of XL Gaming as well.
I think it's mainly just because the CM and Young and have been trying to stack this here.
Yeah, exactly. Tio did get those died twice in the mid lane, which let that Ember basically free farm that lane for about that minute now. So I feel like that's why the Ember is a little bit ahead, but Tio is catching up very slowly. Getting stacks in the jungle.
Oh, she's gonna get a 4-stack.
Oh, just failed to get that 4-stack. There is a gigantic stack though, and looks like Sear's just gonna take off.
Oh, they're going to want to contest this, that's for sure. TA moving up. That's a lot of damage onto that Dazzle, and he almost gets taken out by the Hadouken. Darkseer surging in, he's going to see the other two cores there, and he's going to back up. Face's Void does have Chrono up in a couple of seconds, but I don't think he's going to have the mana to use it. He doesn't have the power treads yet, and he's just going to opt to time walk back out.
Trickster's Rune of Illusion.
So we are hoping to see a mech come out on this Tidehunter nice and early, right?
I'm not sure if he's going to need to go for a Blink Dagger or if he can grab the mech and just wander into the middle of the fights and just sort of hang around as that frontliner.
Dire's structures are fortified.
I personally think the mechanism is very risky. Like, I think like if they can get a pick off, I mean, the Shaman, like mech the whole team up and then just put wards on the enemy tower and just an easy tower.
First tower going the way of Yellow Solo Mid. They found themselves a TA. They do get the root out. Double Remnant in, but she does get the refraction off. She's going to save a lot of damage. Shadow Shaman coming out now. Gets the shackles, but gets immediately cancelled by the Darkseer and then burned down.
No grades coming up from this Dazzle at all from the early game. Maybe he's just... I would like to know what's going on in his mind. And
at least, yeah, for the moment, failing to see much of an impact from this Dazzle at all.
Yeah. And they first picked it as well, so...
Dazzle.
You do see Radiant putting a lot of pressure now.
Well, Tidehunter's found himself a Crystal Maiden. They're not going to commit anything to it. Oh! Shadow Shaman gets a very quick Hex off on the Ember Spirit. Here comes Face's Void. He does have the Chronosphere. He's going to commit it onto two of them. They're going to try and knock down this Ember Spirit. Ravage comes out onto 3, gets the last hit off onto the Ember Spirit. We're going to chase down the Crystal Maiden. She turns around, drops the Crystal Nova. Not enough damage to take her out though, as the Face's Void falls as well. Ice Path comes out, gets 2. Right click's coming out. Oh, and there's the first Grave. Looking to save the Tidehunter. He is going out of range though, but it is not going to be enough to save him.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Radiant playing
and Dazzle.
Right now.
Sole survivor.
At least he finally got that Grave off. I think he understands that he needed those early points in Grave. Now he's starting to stack them up.
Yeah, he has gone for that second point as well.
Again, yellow solo mid Reborn, knowing that they have to apply pressure onto the tier, otherwise tier will snowball. It is a snowball hero.
Well, that's a lot of damage onto that Faceless Void. Not at risk though, he's just going to time walk it back off. And Darkseer has asserted his dominance.
Morphling getting closer and closer to his Lincolns here. There isn't too much skills except for maybe Shaman that he's worried about with the Lincolns.
Time is money.
But it is a nice pickup before he starts building to that shotgun if he decides to go for that build. We see the mech
like,
coming out on Seer as well.
Looks like Tidehunter's going in for a pipe
Yeah, it is a nice item.
as a first item. It's not bad considering the amount of magic damage that they have. Essentially, it provides 300 magic EHP as opposed to 250 from the mechanism for less mana cost. And given that most of their damage at the moment is magic, I think that's a fairly sound choice, although it is just a tad bit more expensive.
Definitely going to be worth it for his team though. They'll be able to stand with Jakiro and the Ember a bit longer. And maybe Dazzle might be able to get that grave off in the middle of a fight.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Hand of Midas out on the Jakiro as well. That's quite timely for your position 4.
That's due to the XP gain talent as well. You can get those levels real quick.
Oh, they've dropped the wards mid, and there is a Chrono on the Faceless Void, but they're not going to hang around to defend it, and I guess they're just going to be happy to get some chip damage onto that tower.
Not sure if you saw what happened top lane, but Dona was getting ganked behind tower by the Cosmetic in the vacuum. Back in the fuse with the frostbite and just scraped it here.
Radiant doing well to apply a lot of pressure onto his tier 1 towers. Maybe we might see a rotation to the bot lane and take out another one.
They're certainly executing this draft well with the Darkseer, the Crystal Maiden, and the Jakiro just moving around, making space, exerting some pressure on the map.
Yeah, I am failing to see where this Dazzle comes into the mix of this team.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Maybe
attack.
they have a plan for their Dazzle that we can't see or don't know about, so... We do see all 5 heroes from Radiant pushing into that dire tier 2 top lane.
Looks like Exo Gaming going to rotate bottom and maybe just try and trade out.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It is very curious as to why this Shadow Shaman hasn't gone Arcane Boots Rush, considering he is the position 4 hero.
Oh, Ember Spirit coming in bottom, gets immediately hexed up. Shackle comes out, they do have the Ravage. More TPs coming in now from Yellow Solo mid. They're going to take out the Dazzle. He's going to try and run away, but I don't think he escapes death here. And with the top tower gone, they do have Searing Chains up on the Ember Spirit. He's going to come in, dive behind the tier 1s, jump in, commit onto this Tidehunter. He's taking a lot of damage here, but are they going to have enough damage to keep it, or is he just going to be able to walk this off? He's got 17 1 charges, and suddenly Ember Spirit has found himself without any mana.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Look out, we've got an Invis Darkseer here moving around. He does have the Vacuum War combination, and it comes out. Lot of damage here coming in from the Morphling, and they're just going to chase down this Tidehunter. I don't think he gets out of here. No, he's walked himself into the trees. Another tower falling to Team Yellow Solo mid. I must say they're executing this draft very, very well.
Yeah, these 2 early roaming supports coming up from Yellow Solo mid Reborn.
Radiant's middle tower is under
doing
attack.
a lot more than what
Dire's bottom
Exo's
tower
heroes
has
are.
fallen.
And they've managed to drop another tower with the Morphling TPing mid to defend their tier 1.
Exactly, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to go for Roche. Even though they're not the best Roche taking team,
Radiant's
they do
top
have
tower
all that
is under
space.
attack.
I feel like that they shouldn't be scared of any of Exo's heroes at the moment.
No, I definitely don't see... let's assume that we get a perfect 5-man Chronosphere from the Faceless Void. Do you think they have enough damage to kill anyone other than maybe the Crystal Maiden during the duration of a Chronosphere?
Yeah,
I
you
don't know
gotta
if they have enough.
you gotta ask yourself, do they have that damage to try and burst down any of the heroes?
Yeah, even in the ideal fight situation, I just don't know if they're going to have the damage output here. They do have the Desolator finish now on the Templar Assassin. So perhaps if they get a good chrono in, TA can get enough damage out, enough hits rather. She'll be able to certainly take out someone.
TA does need a lot of items this game. Still needs to get that blink into BKB. Definitely going to be a hard game, but if you can get those items, maybe they can perhaps start to come back into the game.
This'll come in handy.
Morphling, opting for the shotgun build, looking to take out those two supports nice and early.
Normally I'm a big fan of the Manta on the Faceless Void, but do you think at this point he just needs to accept that, okay, perhaps I'm not the damage dealer this game and go in for an Ags so he can fight as often as Team Yellow Solid Mid are wanting to?
I think the Manta is
like
always a good pick up with the Searing Chain of the boss fight.
Yeah, I do feel like he needs to be dealing damage. Ags isn't enough damage for him, and at the moment he's the only right click that can survive TA, really needing that BKB or the Grave behind him to survive any fights.
Well, Captain Kirk's going to find himself a TA here. I think he's happy to just toy around and maybe take a last hit. They're going to back off. They don't quite know who's backing up this Darkseer.
That is that 32-second vacuum cooldown coming off. They are opting to take down that last tier 2 tower as well.
Yes, the last outer tower for XL Gaming.
I'm not sure.
Surging from the Darkseer, chasing down the Dazzle. He's going to have to be forced to grave himself up and just try and TP. Oh, and the vacuum pulls him back, and that's going to be a nice easy kill. And I imagine that they'll be looking for Roshan now before pushing the high ground.
Yeah, they're not the greatest version team at the moment, but they do have that space. I don't think XL want to fight into Yellow Solo mid Reborn at the moment. They're very strong. They've got the max, almost the Evil's finish in Jakiro. Amber's coming up on that Blink Dagger very quickly. TA also coming up on that Blink Dagger.
Do you think maybe the Darkseer should be looking for something like a Solar Crest?
I don't think so. The extra armor or D-armor on any of... The extra armor on top of Ember or Morphling would be really good. I really like the Solar Crest pickup here.
Ah, and there it is. He's gone in for the medallion.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Did he hear me?
Or maybe he heard me. Who knows? So
that's going to open up their Roche a lot as well, and assuming that one of their cores manages to get caught in a Chronosphere, a lot less damage he'll be taking from that TA and Dazzle combination.
As we see time and time again, Radiant not looking to give up any of their Tier 1 towers.
And why should they? They're certainly not in a position that they need to be trading out to secure objectives right now. Yeah, exactly. I feel like the game is theirs at the moment.
We almost have that blank pickup on TA, and we do have the finished pipe on the Tidehunter. So I feel like this could be a good time for them to smoke.
Yes, certainly they might look to fight around this Roche.
Yeah, I don't think Radiant would expect a smoke coming out from them or the finished items. This would be a really good time for them to smoke. We have a Manta finish on top of the Void as well.
They do have a smoke on the Dazzle as well, and looks like they might be looking to group up around that shrine.
As you can see here, as I was saying earlier, they don't have that Roche taking team, but they're not scared. They've got Yules.
They've got the Observer Ward. They know that they're in there. They've got the Ravage. They've got the Chronosphere. They've got the tools that they need to take this fight.
Here comes that smoke. Will we see the Chrono first?
Looks like Tidehunter's going to walk in. Ravage comes out, gets just the Jakiro. No Chrono yet. He gets blown up. Tidehunter didn't quite get the Ravage I think that they needed. This was not how they wanted this fight to go. They've just vet. All they've managed to do is concede the Roche and feed 2 kills.
I feel like what they could have done there is they could have initiated with the Void there, and any hero that wasn't caught in there, Tide could gather them up, put pipe on all the heroes, and then that's when Dabble weaves. And, you know, it could have been a different outcome, but instead we saw him hesitate, drop a chrono anywhere, and Tide having to use his ult instead with no blink dagger or force.
And the Faceless Void had the Manta as well, so he didn't have to worry about getting immediately disabled by like a root from Ember Spirit or from Crystal Maiden.
Bit of hesitation. I think he was trying to look for that big chrono with a few heroes in it instead of maybe that zoning chrono.
I think they might have been maybe hoping for a bit more vision before committing the Chronosphere, not quite knowing where the Radiant heroes were positioned.
Yeah, we do see that shotgun, so Dazzle or Shaman don't want to get too close.
Oh, and they're very, very quick Shallow Grave coming out to save the Faceless Void, and they're gonna burn the first shrine.
I'm not sure how they can kill this multi at the moment with Aegis or everything's off cooldown.
They still have the Chronosphere. Oh yeah, Chronosphere comes out, they get the Ember Spirit. Faceless Void does get immediately disabled, and the TA burns down the Ember Spirit. Morphling claims himself the Faceless Void as some respite.
They just have nothing to stop this push.
Jakiro just zoning out with the Dual Breath and the Ice Path.
Exactly.
Weave out onto 4, they'll probably take this and back off before the weave damage. No, they're committing Crystal Maiden, dropping the ult onto the Tidehunter. A lot of damage going out on the Tidehunter.
Crystal Maiden definitely letting it go there for a full duration ulti. Not getting any damage off, but I think he's just taunting.
Oh, are they gonna find this pickup on the Crystal Maiden? Morphling moving into Defender. A lot of damage. Oh, Ravage comes out, but there's no one left alive, Tidehunter. There's just no follow-up. Do they just go for the GG push here? No, they're gonna go for the safe option and take off these racks.
I feel like they could definitely throw him right now. There's nothing that Dire can do at the moment. They have Chrono off cooldown, on cooldown. They have Ravage on cooldown. 2 whole minutes.
Wards are on cooldown.
He's still got Aegis.
I just think
pushing.
They can't stop it. Even if they did have all those abilities on cooldown, they've shown that they can't necessarily take the fight to them, even with all their ultimates. Faceless Void here gonna drop again to this shotgun Morphling build.
Yeah, I think what we saw here was a misplay or misdraft of the Dazzle, failing to really do anything in the early game, and then we saw how much of an effect the Kira and CM had on the game. They do opt for a 25-minute GG, and it's well played from Yellow Solid mid Reborn.
Yeah, they did well. They knew what they were doing going into the draft. They had some very, very quick picks, and they executed it perfectly.
Yeah, we could possibly see another game coming out. XL possibly looking to maybe draft into a stronger draft, knowing that they made a mistake. If you want to cut it off there, I have to go talk to him.
No worries, I'll edit this bit out.